Hey everybody, welcome to Season 5, Episode 6 of the Hard Truth Inside the Football Industry podcast with me, Philip Ideson, and Darragh MacAnthony, the chairman and owner of Peterborough United. First of all, Darragh, I hope you had some safe travels back in Florida, at least for a little while.
Yeah, got home on Wednesday last week, so yeah, really nice to be home. Lots of family stuff, college stuff. My daughter now, got to do all her applications to, she's the next one off the production line to go to college next summer, so I've got to do all those apps now. We're visiting our son in Auburn this Friday. Actually, we're flying in to watch a game, and spend a couple of days with him. So look forward to that. Obviously, I haven't seen him since I dropped him there in the middle of August. So yeah, he's living his best life in his apartment up there, and and then obviously from a sporting perspective this weekend, all my favorite teams were, Liverpool lost, the New England Patriots lost, my second team, the Detroit Lions, fucking lost, the Bengals shit the bed when they should have beat Mahomes last night. So fucking, don't want Mahomes winning shit. The refs helping as usual. Yeah. Posh fucking drew. Fucking Bradford lost. Yeah, it was kind of like a sporting weekend.
Yeah, don't let anybody say we only do this when we win.
Correct, Mondo. Absolutely. Yeah, that's such an urban fucking myth, isn't it? Legend. I mean, we do. Yeah. We've done this how many times where it's not pre-organized. Oh, look, we've won a couple of games. Let's jump on and do a podcast. Right. There's more to talk about when you don't win, actually. So it makes better probably. Most people want to listen to what your reaction is when you lose or you draw or whatever else than actually when you win. So yeah, that's a load of bullshit.
Yep. Producer Henry says that we get better numbers when Posh lose because more people want to listen in.
Okay. Well, listen, we got to get back to winning 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. I don't care if the pod's numbers are down. So winning's all that matters.
A trade-off that you're willing to make there.
Yeah, it's not a financial the pod makes loads of money, so hey, I'll take it. No chance anyway. But yeah.
Before we start, a couple of things. So I just want to bring up that I think it's 18 years this week since your first involvement in Peterborough United. Since you first, I think there was a gap between. That and when you actually took full ownership, but you became chairman 18 years ago. Today, if publishing this on Wednesday, it will be exactly 18 years on Wednesday.
That's mental.
What are some of your favorite memories over the last 18 years?
All the good ones. I think you can go with the promotions, the cups, the most recent cup at Wembley, having the family there, big memory. The COVID promotion when no one was there. You've all these different things, then you got your kick in the nuts moments over the years, plenty of them. Probably some of the favorite ones are rebuilding new teams, putting together new teams, because they always say lightning doesn't strike twice, and you talk about recruitment, you talk about technical departments, how good are you? Well, you're only as good as your recruitment, you're only as good as the success off the back of recruitment. So I guess some of the favorite moments is putting together newish teams, and winning promotions off the back of those newish teams, because you're always in that moment. If you go back 17 years ago, 16 years ago, when we had the Trinity and with some of those players, that went back to back and in the championship, you're all thinking, where are you going to find those players again? And how are you going to replicate that? And how are you going to pull the rabbit out of the hat, whatever? But then you go on, well, you won promotions without them. So thus proving it wasn't lightning in a bottle. It's down to skill and hard work from everybody at the club. So there's some great moments, you know what I mean? And but I always say, it's like Tom Brady got asked, what's your favorite Super Bowl ring? And he'd always say the next one. So I guess my answer to what are your favorite moments would be the next one.
Always building, always ready. And that's when,
the next one.
You talk about lightning in a bottle, and it's making it scalable. And so that it kind of is a machine that you're able to plug into. And I think that's what differentiates the success that you've had over the last 18 years versus, you get lucky a couple of times and get a promotion, but it's just based on getting lucky one year or just, happening to have a good set of players all at the same time. And then that team breaks up and you're kind of struggling.
Yeah. I think when you're constantly knocking on the door, which we always do, touch wood, it shows that it's not by accident, it's by design. And you can almost say the team 2 years ago that lost to Sheffield Wednesday in the second leg was very different to the team last year. Yeah. So, but we still pretty much got to the same stage and, whatever else. So if you can do that as a football club and you can evolve quickly and you can move and you can retool and you can still put yourself there in the heart of the battle to be winning promotion, everyone at the club deserves credit for that, because that's not easy to do, because if it was, every club would be doing it.
Every club wants to do it.
They do. They do. They're all trying to do it, you know. So even we played one on Saturday, Lincoln, who, you know, BBC were more excited talking about them than us, you know. It was BBC Cambridgeshire. So, you know, and I was, you know, the build up to the game, I hadn't seen a lot of Lincoln, so I was, according to BBC, we were potentially playing, you know, a club that was like, you know, reinventing the wheel or whatever else. So I'm always fascinated when I watch the Wrexhams and I watch whatever else. And it's never about sour grapes where we win, lose, or draw. I just look at a style of football, a pattern to play, and I have to give credit to the people who run Lincoln, because they don't spend big money. You know, we spend probably a lot more on the transfer market, so they recruit maybe in a different way, and they've done very well. And it's a very well-run football club, and they've obviously got a good manager, and they're very resilient to what they do, and they've got game plans. They've got certain ways to play, and I always say horses for courses.
Mm-hmm. No, they're another one of those teams that, you know, I think were in League Two for a long time, and you kind of saw them as a League Two club, and they were able to make that that jump up to League One, and they've done more than hold their own. You know, they've been competitive.
Yeah. They when I came in, they were with us pretty much, like, you know, kind of a rival, and then they had a really shitty period where they dropped into non-league, and then Danny Cowley came in and got them back up. Him and his brother, they got to the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. I think they got a new owner. You know, they've gone through the leagues. They've got into League One now. They see themselves now as a team that's vying for promotion from League One. Last year, they got hot in the second half of the season. They were unlucky to miss out. So, yeah, there's always clubs like us trying to recreate the wheel, knowing they don't have the financial might to compete with Birmingham or Wrexham or clubs like that. So you always have to give kudos and credit to them, like I would do for Mansfield. Mansfield lost a lot of good players this summer, and Nigel Clough's got them up there, you know, surprising people. Their fans were probably very, after the deadline and losing, I think their best player was in De Bruyne or whatever else, they were probably very like, what's going to happen to us after this? So you have to give credit when credit's due.
Mm-hmm. And just if anyone hears any background noise, there's Darragh's having to be outside today. Yep. So
apologies.
No, I wanted to speak on what was going on there in the background for anyone who's not watching on the on YouTube. Now, I want to come to the game in a few moments, but I do want to wrap up about your 18 years, because there's a question that we had from Richard. And Richard asks, why do you do what you do for Peterborough? You know, do you take a wage? Do you do it for enjoyment? He suggests that you spend a lot of time being the chairman of Posh, and maybe your time could be spent better.
Sadomasochist, that's why I do it, right? So Richard's not wrong. I mean, I was adding this up the other day. I think I spend over 4,000 hours a year working on Peterborough. Mm-hmm. Do I take a wage? No, I don't take a wage because I'm not an employee. So I take what would be a consultancy agreement for the work I put in. But I only take it when we're in a position to pay it. And more than often or not, if I'm taking it, I'm the one putting the money back in.
You're paying yourself.
So yeah, exactly. So say in a year I take a couple of $100,000, and then I'm putting £1 million in during the year. So I'm negative 800 grand or whatever it might be, or da. So I've always said, like, if we were in the Premier League, would I pay myself a few million? Of course, because you got the Premier League money, and I think I more than anyone else would deserve, you know, to have a big part of the action, you know what I mean, in that position. But in League One and even in the Champ, it's like, it's minimal. Even, and without sounding arrogant, a couple $100,000 a year doesn't even cover flights and petrol and every month my time, you know, that I put in. So I do it because A, I'm the owner, B, I'm the chairman, C, I love doing what I do. It definitely takes away not just personal moments, but it takes away from other work opportunities, because I spend so long on Peterborough stuff. So, you know, this morning, what time is it now? We're filming at 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So I was up at, I think, 8:30. I get up late, by the way. It's, you know, I say to my kids, it's the privilege of working hard in my 20s and 30s. So I got up at 8:30, and then I was on with the manager from 9 until 9:56 before we came on, just talking about staff, talking about stuff, talking about the weekend, talking about squad players, you know, just sounding board for him. You know, he's just had his meeting with the players and the staff and all those kind of things. So, you know, and then after this, I've got a call actually with what's to do with a foreign thing. So again, but football related, I can't go into the details. And then I'm on with our CEO and CFO later on. So yeah, it's constant, it's nonstop. But I get, look, when you're the boss, if you ever watch those Dragon Dens or you watch those programs, the Shark Tank, you often see people come on and they're pitching for people to invest in their business. And part of that is like, we want to raise £1 million, but we also want to pay ourselves $500,000 a year, all of us from earning nothing. And everyone's like, so I'm going to give you money and you're going to start paying yourself ridiculous dough. Like you can't do that. And, you know, in a perfect world, you know, I pay myself 7 figures a year because that's for the hours put in and the time put in is what I actually deserve. You know what I mean? So, and what I get in an equivalent job, if I work for a Fortune 500 company, you get a lot more money. But this is just this is it. This is the way it is. So, you know, if we ever catch that perfect, and I mean real lightning in a bottle, where you pull a Luton, you pull a Blackpool, and you go to the top, you know, I'll frame the check I pay myself. You know, so it's like to show everyone.
You've said some, you know, before about kind of the addiction with football, you know, that being around, you know, is also a privilege and a pleasure for you to be able to do, and that's something that really drives you.
Very blessed, very fortunate, you know, and it's like there's no better industry to be in. And I'm always, you know, reflect on the point that there's only 72 of us in the EFL. You know, that's 72 owners, that's 72 managers, you know, that's 72. It's not a big number. You throw in the Premier League, it's really 92 of us. You call it the 92 instead of the 72, right? And, you know, we are probably number one in the world, you know, football-wise.
Yeah.
So I own one of the 92 clubs in the world, you know, that many people would like to own. And then you read about horror stories and things happening. There's the one in Ireland at the moment, I think, with Dundalk, that are trying to sell and they're in trouble, and there's lots of headlines. People are tagging me in all the time, because I'm Irish, obviously. You know, we're very lucky. We're very privileged. We're very blessed. And, you know, for me, it's the best league in the world.
So let's talk a little bit about the game on Saturday. So as you mentioned, you played Lincoln. You had 1-1, and you know, I think, are you finding that the team are just taking a little bit of time to gel right now?
Yeah, I think a few things, you know. So how could I describe the game? Completely dominated again. It's the one good thing. Like, we're dominating games. I think it's 72% possession. And everyone will tell you possession means sweet fuck all if you're not winning games. But possession is important if you want to play a certain style and brand of football where you put your stamp on a game, you dominate and create. And last year we'd have 60, 70% possession, but we'd have 20 shots. So the bit we're missing at the moment is the shots. We need to clean up defensively, you know, because we're not getting any clean sheets. So that's something, because, you know, if you're having all the ball and you're dominating a game, you got to cut out the errors, because it gives you the platform then for your offense, who maybe aren't in the greatest of form, or maybe are under a bit of pressure at home, to get that goal and win the game, and then you move on. So we're just at that point at the moment where it's probably frustrating for the players, it's frustrating for the fans. There's a lot of great fans that are showing up to these games, and we're just not creating enough chances. You know, Saturday's a key moment again. You know, we dominate the first 15 minutes of the game. Lincoln invariably come into the game because they're very good on the counter-attack. They're a good away team. They set up well. They set up to frustrate you. You know, it's the low block in place, all those things, and then they counter really, really well. And they've got some very good players. And then we can see the shitty goal. And if you look how they defended us and we defended that goal, there's the difference right there in the game. So we have to clean that up. And then you got our players in our wide areas. You know, our right side is simmering. You know, starting to, you think, sizzle with 𝗛𝗵. And then the left side is probably the worst side, because it's just not at the races. Whereas away from home, the left side's been very good. So we have to bring it all together. There's definitely, I would say, some of the new players are probably the expectation, you know, playing at home and what's expected of the Peterborough side. Some of that's probably weighing on them. And that's not from the fans, because I think the fans have been nothing but supportive and really good. And I was listening again to the crowd on Saturday. There was no boos or murmurs. I think they know what we're trying to do. We're trying to dominate the ball. We're trying to dominate possession. We're trying to play forward football. We don't want to play tippy-tappy football. Managers don't want to play tippy-tappy football. We spoke today. You know, we want to create 20 chances a game. So, and also our attacking set pieces have probably been poor. You know, if I was to be critical, and I promised not to be critical last year, and I'm not being overly critical, but we don't look like we're going to score from a set piece. And last year we scored from a lot of set pieces. So, you know, the staff have to look at that and figure that out. And, you know, but we've got a lot of pieces. And I think once those pieces start playing to the full potential, we'd be very good. But everyone doesn't want to say, well, when are we going to be very good? And how long is it going to take for us to be very good? We're set up stronger than last year squad-wise, but we're just taking a minute for the 11 to gel and the 11 to be super strong. And, you know, I think it'll happen. And I think we'll win a lot of home games. But it's frustrating so far playing 3 home games and scoring 1 goal. It was a hell of a goal on Saturday. So there's lots of stuff to clean up. But that's the challenge to the staff, to the manager, where not everything's plain sailing. You know, and they've got to get out there and work hard, which I think they really like doing. I think they enjoy that challenge. And, you know, the players are, you know, they're not low on confidence. You know, they all know what's required of them. I just think a few of them are finding their feet and taking a bit of time to adjust, and that's quite normal. So I think I said yesterday to the manager, this time last year we were 2 points better off. So it's not all Harry Carey, end of the world
doom
type
and
stuff.
gloom.
Yeah, correct. It's just like taking a minute to find our feet, and the minute's going to be up, and we're going to get going, and we'll win a home game, and then we rock and roll. So that's just the nature of football. Jesus, I've been in it 18 years. I like what I see. I like the squad. I like what I see in training. I like all those things I'm hearing. You know what I mean? We just now have to take it out onto the pitch. And I think when we do, when we click properly, we'll score a lot of goals. And I think, we'll be full steam ahead. We'll be one of them where we'll be like a well-oiled machine. We win 1 or 2 games. I think we'll win a lot more games than we won last year. You know what I mean? Because we've got a lot of attacking prowess talent in there. Again, we've got Hector now is back, missed a few games. We've got players who were basically like injured. Everyone's coming back. We got our left back. We paid 500 grand for in the summer, who will be fit in November. Key piece. But yeah, definitely little areas. I think the manager was even talking in the press about changing formations. I saw that. I'm not a big proponent of that, but that's just me. I'm like one of those where I understand where he's coming from. People are thinking have away teams sussed this out? Have they worked out a way to stop us playing? Well, if you call, putting 10 men behind the ball and giving you 75% of the ball, figuring us out, well, do the top teams in the Premier League change formations every week?
You've got to figure out how to break that down.
Yeah. I think the onus is on, without us throwing the baby out with the bathwater and changing formations, and we recruit for a certain style.
Right.
We definitely have the ability to, I think, play 3 at the back if we wanted to. But I honestly think if it were me, and I don't pick the team and I don't whatever else, I would be just like, look, fix some of the things that need fixed on the left side, in certain areas, the set pieces, and I think we'll be good to go. Change the formation. It's always one of them risky things if players aren't used to it, and suddenly after 5 games you're changing the formation from the start. I don't know. It's why I'm not a manager. So I'll leave it to the expert. He gets it right more often than not, and we get on with it. So that's just football. That's the beauty of the game. And here we are talking like this after a draw.
I know, right? I'm looking at the whatever the table means, which it doesn't really after 5 games. And it's not like you're bottom with no points.
Yeah. If we won the next 5 games, I'd tell you to shut up if you asked about the table. It's completely irrelevant. It really is. Like 5 games. It's, what are we, 10% of the season? Yes, you want a great start, but what have I said? How many times have I said this? How many times have we started winning 7, 8 in a row, winning manager of the month and all of that? We've even ended up in the playoffs. So it really is, for me, a massive irrelevancy. I think when we won promotion a few years ago, we lost 3 of the first 4 of the first 6. I mean, like I'd said at that time, it takes a little while to get going. And once it clicks, it clicks. So, yeah, stop talking tables, Philip.
And yet, you see Portsmouth fans already making noises that they haven't won yet. And, it should their manager go. You got Steve Schumacher that got sacked this morning from Stoke.
I couldn't believe that.
I mean, they've won 2 out of 6, but again, 5 games in, 6 games in.
Yeah, I thought he was a really good fit for them when they hired him. How long has he been in the job?
It must only be a year. You think? I don't think it's been that long, has it? If that.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose they would argue they did a lot of business in the summer. They paid millions for some players, but 6 games. I mean, I don't watch Stoke, so for all I know, they could be a pile of shit. They should have lost every game. The dressing room's gone. Who knows? But again, I was speaking to the gaffer earlier, and he was saying, was it filed? He said someone else had lost a manager in non-league and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, Jesus, like, maybe I need to flip this and tell the gaffer, you go win the next 10 games, I was like, if I go too nice.
And what I've never understood, and maybe I'm not sure if you've ever had this situation where you've let somebody go very early into the season, but is there really anything that's known 5 games into a season that wasn't known in June, for example?
Yeah. Bar probably early on, 18 years ago, when we got to the champ and I had a row with a manager. It wasn't really about results. It was, I don't think I've ever got rid of someone that early after. I don't think so. 5, 6 games. It's like, even if you're not liking what you're seeing, maybe you give it a bit of time and you tell them. I think managers deserve to know if they're under the cosh. I think you're better off being honest with your manager and saying, look, I'm not loving what I'm watching. I'm not loving the vibe. You really got to turn this around. Just so that you're aware that I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Because if I was in their shoes, I'd want to know if the paymasters aren't happy. Instead of thinking everything's great, the birds are out chiming and everything's wonderful, and suddenly a week later you lose a game and you're out of a job. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt so they can maybe adjust, change something, really give it a good go. But 5-6 games is early. I mean, I did see that in Sky. They're talking to, I think it was a Norwich assistant or something like that. It's like, geez, wow. So anyway, no, I the biggest thing I'm thankful for is the Posh fans have been fantastic the first 3 home games. Really supportive. Another home game next week. We have to crack the code. We have to fix the issue at home. We've lost too many home games in 2024. There's no doubt about that. Whether that's teams have sussed us out in a way or want to stop us playing. That was even before, even when we had Efron and Harrison last year, and Ronnie and Josh Knight, we were a bit hit and miss at home. So they're things only we can figure out. Like I said, good football teams figure it out. Good football teams don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and just go completely the other way. So I'm a firm believer in sticking to your principles and what you want to do. And you do it with repetition enough times with the belief that it works, it will happen. And when it happens, it'll be like bang. So that's where I'm in that camp.
Well, who have we got coming up next? You have Bristol Rovers at home, and then Leyton Orient away the next couple.
Yeah, we got to get busy. Like, there's too many downtimes in between. Like, we've had the international break. We've played on Saturday, another game for 7 days. We've got a young group. They need to play football games. I'd rather we were getting 3-4 games a week now at this stage, because we've got a big squad. We've got to get them games, and I'm looking forward to us hitting that Saturday, Wednesday cycle now. I think that will benefit us. I think, there are a lot of players, inactivity is like their worst enemy when they're at a young age. And I think the more they play, the less time they get to think about things and they move on to the next game and so on and so on. So, bring it on. Bring on the games.
Is this your bye week in the Football League Trophy?
I've no idea. We've only played 1 game so far. I think everyone else has played like 2. So
we play this week.
Yeah, so I don't really know. Let's get through in that tournament. Let's win the next game, get through, and then use the third game to, we got a fantastic batch of under-18s who beat Ipswich away on Saturday again after beating QPR 6-0 the week before. We got 4 or 5 of them who we think are like real talents. So it'd be great to see some of them capped. I call it capped as in making their debut for the first team in an official competition. So I would love that. I was speaking to the manager about that today. If we get through into that third round, we got to play a couple of 12-year-olds, in that EFL Trophy game. so because it's just good for the club, it's good for the academy, it's good for all the staff that worked really hard, and it's good for those players to get a taste of the action. So we got some exciting ones there.
It's a shame that you can't, international level style, play a youngster in a professional game, and it stops the bigger clubs being able to go and take them from the academy.
100%, exactly right. And that's another reason you want them capped, because then if they get stolen, you get more compensation because they've played for the first team. Do you know what I mean? And quite a few of them could play in that trophy game. There's some very, very good youngsters in there. To be beating QPR 6-0, Ipswich 3-1 away. These are good football clubs, good academies. So, that's our 18s, our 16s as well, our some team full of some young players. So, no, that's something that excites me. So, yeah, roll on the games, roll on the trophy games, keep it rocking and rolling. What about the mighty Banthams? Give me the juice. What did you do at the weekend?
Yeah, so international break week, we beat Carlisle 2-1 at home.
Yeah, Andy Cook.
Yeah, Andy Cook. There was a little bit of needle in that game in Carlisle fans trying to create a rivalry that doesn't exist.
Okay.
And then they beat us in the playoff semi-final 2 years ago.
I remember, watched that game.
And they believed that some of that was down to them supporters setting off fireworks outside the Bradford team hotel in the middle of the night.
Okay.
So it was, while it's for us, it's been a little bit of like an annoyance of all these Carlisle fans trying to make a rivalry. It was still nice to get the win and for Andy Cook to be. You'd
be very dismissive of Carlisle fans there. I feel I should be listening to this and coming at you with serious online trolling, because I'm very respectful of Carlisle. I think you've gone the other way there. Carlisle fans, if you're tuning in and you're listening to this, Phil, I'm going to give you his address where he lives and his phone number in 2 seconds.
Bring it on. Actually, Harry Lewis as well was playing for them. So
that's right.
What was actually nice to see, was when when they were, when they come out with the teams, they line up, they do the handshakes. It was definitely hugs all around for Harry Lewis and the City players that were there when he was around. So a lot of respect.
But there's part of you thinking one of your good prospects going to Carlisle from Bradford.
I mean, there is always that, and then you remember where we are in the world, and you remember that we're in League Two, and therefore, we're not going to pay the wages that I'm sure that Carlisle paid for Harry to go into League One, and that's still the reality of our situation. I think that we're better payers this year than we were last year, but there's probably a feeling about Harry that maybe he was he going to get any better than where he was at the time that we sold him?
Take the money, move on, right?
Exactly. And we had a goalkeeper lined up on a free transfer who has certainly done everything and probably more that Harry did when he was around. So I think it worked out for everybody.
You're like a board member for Bradford. You really do. Like, you go in the trenches for them, don't you? Like, you're talking all the talking points from the club's point of view. You should have that crest. You should have a crest on your shirt there.
You talk about Carlisle fans coming and giving me crap. I'm going to get it all from Bradford fans more than I do Carlisle
let me
fans.
tell you, we should put a disclaimer up in whoever watches this on YouTube, we should put down spokesperson for Bradford under Phil's name here on the podcast.
Hey, this message has been sponsored by Bradford City.
Yeah, exactly. Apologist for Bradford over here. Look, Phil. So what happened on Saturday? Give me the reasons why you didn't win.
Yeah, Saturday we lost to Walsall. We started poorly. One of our centre halves got injured after about 10 minutes, which is the second consecutive away game that's happened. That happened at Grimsby as well that we lost. And then one of our other centre halves got injured just before halftime, and he had to come off as well. So then we had to do a formation shift. We basically started the season thinking we had too many centre halves, and now we've hardly got any left because I think the opening day of the season, back three are all now out injured already.
Oh wow! Bad injuries?
I mean, we'll see about one of them. He rolled his ankle, so hopefully it's no more than that. But kind of muscle tweaks, and anything I would say from 2 to 4 weeks for each of them. So I don't think they'll be back in time for Saturday. I mean, who knows? One of them might be because maybe he just rolled his ankle and he's good. But that's definitely. Although ironically, we played better when we changed formation. We went to a back four. Right. We probably had more chances through a back four. We came into it, got the equaliser, and then pushed on. And we had so many chances that we really should have taken one away. And of course, 2 minutes to go, they go up the other end, and they score. So was it? That's probably harsh. Yeah, probably should have been a 1-1. Graham Alexander came out afterwards, and while he said that we need to be better and need to have better game management and see out the clock and things like that, then he was pretty critical of the of the referee. And more, I mean, they got a penalty, which was an awful decision. It really didn't look like a penalty at all, and it was while our player was on the floor or just getting up off the floor from being injured. And so there was a gap at the back. They ran through the gap. Looked like a good tackle. Gave a penalty for it. They were doing a lot of time wasting. What's really seems to have come into the game more and more now, where the goalkeeper, fakes injuries because they know that that's going to buy time and stop momentum.
Yeah. And
so that happened a couple of times. The referees really don't do anything about it. They just, if you're a goalkeeper, why wouldn't you do that to try and, if you're going to get away with it?
It's funny. I'll give kudos to our referee. He was good because they lost their goalie with like half an hour to go. He got concussion, I think, and it was a good decision taking him off. He didn't want to come off. Fair play to the kid, but they brought on it, and that's probably the frustration that we didn't really have a shot on target. The new young goalie that went in goal, and there was 12 minutes of injury time went up. So we had injuries, they had injuries, and the ref actually took that time and put it on. 12 minutes of injury time. I thought, lovely jubbly, here we go. Let's pepper their goal. And it was kind of like, a bit of a damn squib, really, of injury time, nothing really happening. So so fair play to the ref in our game. Yeah, you got to give praise, to referees because you give enough criticism to them. So I thought he was actually very good, the referee.
Yeah, and what I think Graham Alexander was saying as well afterwards was his view that the referees association don't really care about League Two. Was his point?
He's getting
that there was a managers meeting. And all the managers come together, and they couldn't even send, the head of refereeing to come and speak to them to talk about and to answer questions and answer concerns. And he was just frustrated that it doesn't matter what he feels that the club will say or what they say or anything in an official capacity, kind of falls on deaf ears, and that they aren't seeing from the referees what the referees said that they would be doing in the summer. He said he didn't see what they said they were going to do last summer. And I think that frustration just kind of came over as well for him.
It is frustrating. Like I've said to the manager, like we've noticed that, Oxford cracked the code against us how to stop us playing in the playoffs. What Oxford did very cleverly was, particularly in the second leg, they jumped on our players' backs every 2 minutes in the first half. I think there was like 20 fouls. And because the referee, he was not very good in the playoff semi-final, because he didn't book any of their players, it continued into the second half. And for a team that builds up progressively, it's key momentum of keep playing. And all they did was break up our play. It was like it really hurt our game plan. And we've noticed a few teams, if you go back to even Huddersfield, first game of the season, they obviously watched, good managers have obviously watched what happened there and gone, well, we're just going to foul the shit out of Peterborough. And the ref isn't going to have the cojones to, put bookings in early. They'll wait till like the 55th, 60th minute. And by that stage, you really get thrown out of your way of playing. So I said to Darren, you've got to ring the Refs Association and drill them down on, we are being targeted. Like if you look at the amount of silly fouls, breaking up our play when we're passing, we get fouled, we got to play, break up, foul, particularly through midfield. It was a constant thing. And it was very clever from Oxford who did it at the time. And, that's where you want your Referees Association to analyse Peterborough's games and go, actually, they've got something here, they're right. And then they tell the next referee at the next game, you've got to book that team early on to stop that crap happening, because that's the only way you have a fair game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We're not a dirty team. We don't play that way. We don't set up that way. But other teams are going to try and find little things to stop you playing. That's what they're going to do. So it can get very frustrating for a manager. I get it. You're limited in what you can do, what you can say. So you're going to use the press. He's probably going to end up getting fined and in trouble.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anytime you mutter anything, I'm sure that gets you a fine. But so that's really where we are. So we've got Mansfield away and the BSM Trophy midweek, and then Wimbledon at home, Harrogate away.
They're flying Wimbledon.
Yeah, and well done to them, I think, for the win over MK Dons at the weekend. It was, just seeing there was somebody that posted on the Bradford Twitter about you wish for a real derby game. Like we don't have a derby game. We haven't had a derby game for years. We've got all these fake derbies that that we try and get excited about, but you can't until you're playing.
We got Cambridge, we got Northampton. You don't have that feel, that
I mean, I know Leeds is out of our level really, but the Huddersfield, it used to be Burnley as well before Burnley went on a tear. So just seeing those fans winning in a derby game was
those moments are special for fans, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it is gutting, you don't have that. But I didn't see any of the highlights of the game, but I think MK Dons had 80% possession.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Wimbledon obviously dismantled them, do you know what I mean, on the counter-attack. So fair play. I did say when we played them in the summer that I thought Wimbledon would be up there this year.
Did you see, I think it was a week or two ago, the clip going around on Twitter with Roy Keane talking about Wimbledon passing it out from the back against Salford when they were losing.
MK Dons.
I'm sorry. Slip of the tongue, a bad slip of the tongue there. Yeah, about MK Dons at Salford kicking it out.
Yeah, I did see that, and I understand and whatever else. But look, this is the modern way now. This is football. This is I get Keane's perspective. I get his opinion. It's been a while since he's managed. I get it. This is the way clubs want to play. You're either into it or you're not. I guess some of our fans would moan at the moment that we're not, what's the word, penetrating enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like lots of the ball and lots of pretty football, but you're not. But we did both of that last year, so I think you have to marry both. It's great having 80% of the ball, but if you're not peppering their goalkeeper, if the Wimbledon goalkeeper was man of the match and Wimbledon won 3-0, you think fair play. Yeah. It's one of them days, So, but if MK Dons had their bellies tickled, whatever, and just had loads of the ball, and then Wimbledon just battered them, that's a different story. But he's probably under a bit of pressure now because they've got a new owner there, and obviously they haven't started well, have they? So, but fair play to Wimbledon. I guess from a football fan's perspective, everyone wanted Wimbledon to win that game.
And we do have a question. Somebody who didn't want Wimbledon to win the game is Richard. Richard is a long-time listener, long-term miserable MK Dons fan, as he says. Loves the pod. He was interested in how much do you think Pete Winkleman received for the sale of MK Dons, which I'd kind of reframe of what do you think is a valuation for a club like that?
It's a tough one because I think a big part of their business is the hotel. I think a lot of the football club would have been paid for by the profits from the hotel. They got a hell of a stadium. They got a hotel. I would say he got between 50 to 65 million quid for it. Considering he built that stadium with a wrap. In other words, he put some of his money in, but the majority of it was built by all the commercial wrap he had around the stadium. I would say Pete, fair play to him, probably walked away with a nice healthy dose of profit in his pocket from the deal. Now, he would argue he's given 20 years of his life to that club. To be all those things about, why he's a villain, what he did, moving this, moving that. But he would look at it the other way and go, well, I gave, the city of Milton Keynes a club.
Yeah.
I built this state-of-the-art stadium. I put it all out there, put a hotel in, all those reasons he would say why he was a good owner. I'm glad him and his family got a few quid. I'm glad they walked away, made right financially. Now it's up to someone else. So, but I would guesstimate anywhere from 50 to 65 million was the deal. Whether it was paid up front, whatever, I don't know. But again, it just shows you the attraction of having what you call a modern stadium. Now it's 18 years old. A modern stadium that you can have concerts in, a hotel attached to it for the revenue. That hotel made millions every year, which helped offset the losses in the football club. So, it was whoever's bought it, they have a club that's fit for purpose in the bottom 10 of the Premier League. If that club is in the Premier League, they have a stadium that would sell out every week.
Yeah.
So, they are good to go. They just need 3 promotions to go with it. So there's loads of potential.
And when you talk about commercial wrap, you're basically talking about office buildings, the hotel, how the real estate is developed around the ground. So
you get a bit of land, you get some land with basic infrastructure. Yeah. So the land where that was built at the time is kind of like not in the middle of nowhere, but it was like industrial. So then what he did was he designated a bit of land for Walmart, whoever owns Walmart, the English version of Walmart. Asda, who would have paid 12 million for their chunk.
Yeah.
Then you would have, say, KFC, Star, whatever. They paid 3 million for their chunk. And by the time you add up all the chunks you've sold off to commercial entities around the wrap, that money pays for the whole, pretty much a large part of the stadium. And then you obviously have the hotel you put in. Yes, you license the hotel to a Sheraton, a Marriott, a Hilton, whatever, but you still get a percentage of the profits.
Right. You're the owner. You have it operating.
Yeah. So really, if he spent back in the day 50 million building that stadium, I dare say a good 35 to 40 of it came from selling bits of the wrap around. And the biggest expense would have been the roads in, which he probably also would have got maybe some local government funding for the infrastructure going in. So really it was a sweet deal. How he ended up with this beautiful fucking stadium. And the biggest crime would have been over the years that they never really grew the attendance to where it should be. After 15 years of having a new stadium like that, even in League Two, you should be getting Bradford-like numbers in through the door. That would be the big criticism you would say. Commercially, maybe they didn't do enough to get the fan base up. So for Richard, the long-suffering fan, the good news would be the new owner looks like he's got a few quid. It will be interesting to see what they do in the market. I think the manager's style of play is lovely. I don't know. I've never met him. But, from watching them, obviously he's definitely of the Russell Martin school of, we've got to pass till we score and we won't worry about conceding stupid goals. And that's something maybe they've got to clean up. And that'll be the biggest criticism about Russell Martin in the Premier League at the moment. You're good on a visual perspective, but defensively you're fucking shit. And can you not do both?
Too many mistakes.
And if you were super critical of Peterborough, it would be Saturday as an example. 15 minutes of complete dominance. Lincoln defend for their lives. The few times Lincoln attack us, they score because we maybe haven't defended for our lives.
Yeah.
So that's where we have to marry up that. Okay, if our attack's having a tough time, well, then the defense have got to dig in and be like, hardcore and keep a clean sheet until the attack do score a goal. And then you walk out of there with a 1-0 win. It's not ideal and perfect. You're not creating loads of chances, but you've got confidence from it. So that's where it all has to match up together. So, so obviously MK Dons are having that issue at the moment.
Yeah. Just one last point on the kind of the funding of the stadium. That's in the US, when you don't have owners going to try and force municipalities to pay all the bills. That's essentially the model, isn't it, for out-of-town stadium development?
Yeah, but and I know you're a bleeding heart liberal and a Democrat, and you don't want local, municipalities paying for.
Oh, I've got no issue with that because it creates economic activity.
Right. So you only have to look at Oakland, which has turned into one of the biggest shitholes. Do you know what I mean? From a perspective of, they lost the Raiders. I think they're about to lose their baseball team. And you've got the local, left-wing politicians, we really showed them Well, that's great. You took like the Raiders out of there and you took hundreds of millions in revenue for your city, and you got one of the worst crime rates in America. And now all the big sports franchises are looking to go, see ya, don't want to be you. And that's great that you stood up for your constituents, because really all you did was fuck all your constituents. When it should have been the opposite. You should have been saying to all your voters, hey, we're going to have to provide a large part of finance here. Because if we build this stadium, the regeneration in the area, the income in the area, the jobs it will create. Yes, the club's got to pay something towards that, absolutely. And the city have got to have a percentage of the action. And we've got to do this. Vegas have done it very cleverly. You know, at the end of the day, the NFL do it cleverly because it's not just the municipality that are helping with the stadium. The NFL then offer loans as well. So if you're an owner like Chicago, want to build this $2 billion, you know, lakefront stadium in Chicago, and the city of Chicago, as usual, the lefties are up in arms. We can't put $1 into this. But again, you're not thinking, you're not seeing it for what it is. Get over all your talking points nonsense and look at the long-term plan. And I've said this about Peterborough. We did a whole study where it was shown over 15 years. I think it was 300 million would come into the area if we did this stadium, you know, as a joint enterprise. If we got together with whoever's in charge of the council and said, hey, look, let's put football stuff aside, council stuff aside, and, you know, left, right, whatever. Let's look at the city. What can we do for the city? What's good for us? What's good for them? How do we make it work? Because really, ideally, the ultimate goal is this fit for purpose, 365-day-a-year enterprise is going to be great for us and great for you. So how do we make it happen?
Yeah.
And, you know, using local municipalities and councils and cities is great because they also get access to cheap finance. Governments, a lot of governments basically have like slush funds where they can draw down from the government and borrow. And I knew that, like in our city, like the local hotel got like a cheap £15 million loan at like 2%, as opposed to if you were to do it now, it'd be at 7%.
Yeah.
Because they get access to a pool of money. Okay, help us. How do we get access to a pool of money? You know, if it's 60 to build a stadium and we bring 20, we get access to borrowing 20, you know, and then the local municipality contribute 20, you know, and because we know long term you're going to be making 10 to 20 a year in like revenue, surely that's better for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where it's frustrating, where it breaks down on stadia conversations all the time and whatever else. So yeah, don't get me started on stadiums.
I mean, I want to say, one, I think that sports is the heart of community. And so, you know, what you said about Oakland is exactly right. They've lost all their teams now. And so there's no focal point. There's no, you know, nothing that the city can get behind as something that has some civic pride associated with it.
Yep. Those local politicians, they won.
Right. But then about economics, I would encourage anyone to look at Detroit. So I lived in Detroit for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years.
Great point.
And within, so I moved to Detroit in 2005, started spending a lot of time in Detroit around 2003, right when Ford Field opened. So within a half-mile vicinity between, I don't know, 1998 and probably 2015, 2016, they built 3 stadiums very close to each other. Ford Field, Comerica Park for the baseball, and Little Caesars Arena for the NBA. And so then all this, what was basically a dangerous place and somewhere that you wouldn't, somewhere you wouldn't walk. I was afraid of walking there at night. Turns it into this, it's just kind of totally revitalized the city center.
100%.
So much more investment all around the kind of the corridor of the stadiums, but all the way down to the riverfront, or well, really the lakefront, and turn the city around. Yeah, and that's what you can do.
Absolutely. Jacksonville are doing it at the moment. They're regenerating their stadium. You know, there's like, you know, when you do things like that, you can see the benefit. And Jacksonville's Democrat run, by the way, I believe. Yeah. But the guy has been forced to, like, we've got to do this. This is right. You know, Kane, the owner of Jacksonville, who owns Fulham, I think he's putting in 500 million, and the city are putting in like 600-700 million. And you know, it's the right thing to do. People will say, why should the locals pay for it? You're going to pay a lot more if you don't pay for it, because all they're going to do, if the area is crap and there's no income and there's high crime and you can't pay for local infrastructure, guess who ends up paying the piper? The residents through higher taxes. So you're going to end up paying a lot more. So
the city goes bankrupt.
Or the city goes bankrupt, and then it's even worse. You lose credit ratings and you lose jobs in the economy. So sometimes it's kind of like, get off your high horse of, you know, we don't like capitalism and we can't like spend local, you know, authority money. Well, if you're intelligent enough and see for what it's for, you'll understand why. Like our city in Peterborough, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the UK. You know, people always ask me about, you know, would you fill a new stadium? Would you do this? And I go, there's such a large percentage of families who wouldn't come to an old stadium, particularly women and children, because of toilet facilities and facilities that you have, that if you had a brand spanking new stadium, they would see it as a day out, to go to. And I'm convinced there's thousands of people like that moving into the city. So I am convinced you move from that low middle tier to middle to higher tier football club with 15,000 average fans. So yeah, it's it's fascinating when you see the whole thing, how it unfolds with different cities. And when they be like Kansas, I think, have screwed themselves in the NFL. They voted against Kansas improving their stadium because they wouldn't do local funding. Now Kansas have said, well, we might look at moving next door. What are you doing? It's like mental. Anyway, what was the next stuff we were talking about?
So let's talk a little bit about just some things that are in the news right now. And this week is the start of the Champions League. Champions League has a new format, which I'm still trying to figure out.
Blew my mind when I saw all the pictures and whatever else. Was like,
yeah. What I mean, are we tinkering with something that shouldn't be broken, or are you interested to see kind of how this all works?
I'm interested to see how it works. I guess if you, what's that saying in life again? If you just stand still and you stop moving, everything around you moves past you. And I guess what they're trying to do is ensure that the ratings keep going, the TV deals keep getting stronger. And if Real Madrid are going to win it every year, is that going to help the product? So maybe they're looking for more meat on the bone. So they're just recreating the wheel. I don't mind that. I think competitions have to look at that every now and then. You don't want it to be to the detriment to your domestic leagues, of course. So it will be interesting to see if there's more games for English teams, how English teams react to that when they come back. That's always the precursor. Will it make it tougher? I don't know. I know Liverpool have got some unbelievable games. They've got Milan first up and play Real Madrid. As a fan, you want to see the best teams, the best games, not just later in the group stage or after the group stage where you get knocked out by Real Madrid in the last 16 or the last 8. So you want to see some of those juicy games. So let's wait and see what happens before we start criticizing and losing our shit as we do, as a football public. Let's give it a bit of time.
Yeah, and not that I will ever have a horse in the competition, but I feel it became stale. The group stages became really stale. Like I would very rarely watch it anyway until definitely the knockouts, if not semi-finals, final. So I think they probably needed to do something to to have some kind of jeopardy or interest in the early stages.
And I think that's what I mean by keep moving, keep improving. The NFL have done that very well. And I think, moving around the world in different cities and different this and different that, new rules and new whatever. I think it has to be the same in our industry. Like I said, there's no point in standing still. Standing still ain't going to get you anywhere fast. So let's give it time and see what happens.
And we have the Man City hearing starting today. So I did see some funny pictures on Twitter of Man City's squad photo of being 11 lawyers all lined up, waiting to go into the courtroom. So it's going to be, it will be interesting to see what really happens. I know we've talked about this a lot. You've talked about what your expectations are.
I really don't know what the outcome is going to be. I think they'll have the best lawyers in the world. I think, everyone, bar probably me, because we have a good relationship with them, wants them to lose. Let the process play out. And then it's like everyone said Leicester were going to get hammered and they were going to get points deductions. They were going to do this, and the press spoke about it all the time. And players didn't want to join because of that in the transfer window, and Leicester are going to get relegated. And what happens? Leicester win.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a responsibility to let the due process play out. It is innocent until proven guilty. I agree with Pep when he said that. And I get there's a lot of people who will think the fix is in if they don't, get found guilty. We don't know the facts. And it's very dangerous to speculate when you don't know the full facts.
And I would say, just generally speaking, for Manchester City to be found guilty, there has to be 200% certainty.
Absolutely.
That there is guilt. There can be.
Absolutely.
Because, what you don't want is then this to just run on in appeals, for there to be, doubt still thrown upon the decision, whatever a punishment may be. So I think that it's going to be a very, very, very high bar that has to be jumped for them to be found guilty.
Yeah, this will drag on. It will go on and on. There'll be so much speculation coming out every day from the hearing. I don't know if people are allowed in to listen. Obviously, the news reporters are going to overdose on this stuff for the next couple of weeks. I'm sure they know what they're doing, Man City. And even when it's finished, it will be a while probably before judgment is actually released. By that stage, they'll be probably 15 points ahead in the Premier League race. And it'll be fine. You know, so let's wait and see. You know, if anyone thinks they're not winning the Premier League against this year, they need their head fixed, because nobody else is going to get close again.
No, they've taken their end season form, which is basically
which they don't usually do.
Form.
Yeah, they don't usually do it.
Start the season.
Yeah, exactly. That head start they give other teams, that's not even happening this year. Right. So I think Pep's got the bit between his teeth. So I think a prediction of a Man City treble again, FA Cup, Champions League, and league title is incoming. You heard it here first. Definitely ain't happening for my beloved Liverpool, that's for sure.
Well, not if they play like they did at the weekend.
That was bad. That was really bad. I watched that. After the Peterborough game, I went on and Peacock or whatever else, where they replayed the game. I didn't know the result, but that was bad. That was like watching paint dry.
What a fun day. You just wanting to get some.
Yeah. I mean, if I thought we were a little bit blunt, you know, attacking wise, Liverpool were a lot worse than us. That was like really bad. And I know everyone's saying, "Oh, international travel, that's a load of bullshit." You know, Nottingham Forest had people away, but that was after winning before the international break and whatever else. I thought we didn't seem to have a plan B. We didn't seem to have a plan C. I thought the subs were awful at that time. It didn't help. Mo Salah probably had his worst game since May, you know, when he was poor at the end of last season. Yeah. It was just disjointed and poor. It was like really, really bad. And fair play to Forest. What a great plan. What you can say there is, if you're being critical of Slot, the Forest manager basically outmanaged him tactically. That's what he did. So he's going to have to adapt quickly, because you cannot be losing to, with all due respect, the Forest, mid-table team, whatever. Yeah. If you want to compete and you're Liverpool, you cannot lose at home, not score a goal to mid-tier teams in the Premier League. That can't happen. That's one thing, Man City coming to your place and beating you 1-0 or whatever else. But I saw this argument about we're going to be different from Jurgen Klopp, where it's not going to be as frenzied and we're going to build up slower. The ball's not going to go up front as quick, and we're going to do this. That's all fine and very well, but you've got to win games. Because if you don't win games playing that way, people will say it's a snooze fest. And then you will get comparisons to what Klopp was like, where it was a bit more frantic and it was a little bit more attacking. So, yeah, I'm hoping that's a one-off. It's like, oof.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to just touch on before we wrap up related to the international scene. And first of all, Pochettino being hired and unveiled as the new US national manager. I'm interested in your point of view, both from a US perspective, but also from a career perspective for Pochettino.
There's no great jobs out there. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's 2 years out of your life. He's got a release clause, I believe, after the World Cup is over. So he could basically take the States to the last 4 of the World Cup, which he should do. They've got some young, talented players. And then his star will shine bright, and then he will have to pick up some good jobs in 2026. So I think it's a great investment by the US. What are they called? The men's team or whatever else. Different names. No, I think it's really good for the young players they have, the type of manager he is. I think he'll be very good. And I think America will be a good team at the World Cup, because it's kind of home soil. I know they're sharing it with Canada, Mexico, but
it feels like they need some structure, or they need a push, or like the talent. It's probably the most talented squad that the US has had, and they're just getting better with structure.
Without a doubt, and they've had some very average
drive or whatever hasn't been there to connect.
Yeah, they've had some average managers. You know, now they've got a world-class manager, in my opinion, the best they could get next to Jurgen Klopp in that position. So I think it was the right thing. They've invested wisely. I think they're paying him $5-6 million. Then there's a donor who's put in some money.
Paid national team manager, I was reading.
Yeah, but they got some local billionaire also to throw some money in. I read the whole article on The Athletic. So at the end of the day, it's like Chelsea are paying some of his wages. You know, so you know it's the US national team. It's you've got the US World Cup here in the US. It's worth spending $5-6 million a year. It's $12 million. It's a nothing investment for the US national team.
Right. Not when it costs you, I don't know, billions in at this point in stadium and in reinvesting in infrastructure for a competition like this.
Correct. And he'll get the best out of that young squad. The only thing I've always said they're lacking is maybe a goal scorer.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I'm sure he's going to work hard on that, and it'll be exciting, because you want to, you know, I'll support Ireland, who won't make the World Cup. And then I'll semi-support England, because my family all think they're English. My wife, you know, my kids are now wearing England shirts. Even though they got Irish passports, the turncoats. So now I can get to support the USA. So I guess it's good from that perspective. Well, yeah, it was a good move.
So what needs to happen with Ireland for your kids to sport Irish shirts then?
Typical turncoats. They need to start winning. and watching them and whatever else, and the teams they lose to and whatever else, and the two. What I can't get my head around is the year's 2024, and you've got players in the Irish team who are 35, 36. Even if in the greatest will in the world you got to the World Cup, you're taking 38-year-olds to the World Cup.
Right.
I just don't understand. When a new manager comes in, it's a great chance to reset. It's a great chance to say, hey, we're going to wish you well, celebrate your career, and we're going to move on. And here's what we're going to do. And here's what I want to do. And we're going to bring in this new dearth of talent we have, and we're going to basically like go with that. And, you know, they've got some very, very good players in that team, and they just can't seem to pick a win. I don't understand it. I'm watching San Marino win fucking games, for goodness sake, and Ireland can't win a game of football. I think they lost to Greece, lost to England, and it's like, you know, Jack Charlton didn't have the talent pool that's available now back in the day when we were like upsetting all the odds. What he did have was he was a good coach, he had a good team, he had good team spirit, and then we were tough to beat. You know, Ireland right now are just like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I've been very critical of them.
I mean, is it a player? Is that there isn't the depth of talent coming through, which is why the older players are playing, or do they need to widen the net like Jack Charlton did and start looking at, you know, how do we find English players with Irish, you know?
Yeah, let's not talk Grealish and Rice. You know what I mean? Them two played like friendlies for Ireland. Like, we have some great talent. We got the boy is it Ferguson at Brighton, who's meant to be worth 200 million 2 years ago. You got Schmotters. You got the boy at Luton, you know, sold for millions, tip switch in the Premier League out wide. We've got central midfield. We've got centre halves that have gone for 15 million plus. We've got Liverpool's goalie who turned in 25 million for him in the transfer window. You start looking at players and you look at valuations. Don't tell me that there's no talent. We got more talent than the Northern Irish team. We've got more talent than the Scottish team, and they're qualifying for Wales, and they're qualifying. So this is good management. This is good organisation. This is just good coaching. So I get the argument. People came at me a few months ago when I criticised, you know, I saw some of the teams in the Euros playing good football and said, why can't Ireland do that? Yeah. People were like, well, football, soccer isn't really the main sport and we're not creating enough. But hang on, a lot of these players are playing in England. They're playing in the top leagues and they can't buy a win. And you've got like, I love Seamus Coleman and he's captain of Ireland. But the greatest will in the world. How old is Seamus Coleman?
I don't know, but he's been around a while.
Right, well, Google it. Tell me how old he is.
Yeah.
I mean, what is he going to be at the next World Cup? I mean, Robbie Brady. How old is Robbie Brady? Yeah. You know, like...
Well, Seamus Coleman, 35.
Right, so you'd be 37 for the World Cup. What's Robbie Brady?
32.
Yeah, like, this is you know, I can get the Seamus Coleman thing because he's the captain. Okay, but Robbie Brady? You know, you start looking through the team and you look at the players and whatever else, you're just like, come on. Like, we got to move on at some point. We have to.
Is it a coaching issue or is it an FAI? Is it kind of set from the top?
Well, they've got the Iceland coach. They've got John O'Shea in there. Seems to be doing a lot of the talking. I don't know. Look, they've had 2 games. Give it time. I didn't love what I saw against England. I didn't love what I saw as Greece who beat them comfortably. I don't know. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I know they're lacking. You know, they've got financial things and whatever else, the FAI, but I don't think the love is there for the national team as much as it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But I do know that when I see some of the teams I saw at the Euros doing well, was Slovenia, Slovakia, you know, all these teams like Georgia, Ireland have got to be in these tournaments, and that's how you reawaken the passion and love for the game. So we have to do better. Now, if the Iceland manager is as good as it gets, okay, fine, great, you know, but if he doesn't work, we've got to get better, you know, because obviously the last few appointments just haven't worked. So frustrating.
So on the other side of that game, and the last point, and we can wrap up today, was obviously from an England perspective, and Lee Carsley being the temporary manager. Is he the man? I mean, do you think that's a temporary, that he's really just keeping the seat warm?
No, I think I think the FA would love a simple, easy one there and just give him the job.
Yeah,
they're going to let him win 4 or 5 games, then slide him in a la Southgate. Yeah. I don't mind it because I think he's more progressively attacking minded than Gareth Southgate. I think he's a very good coach. I like him. I liked what he tried to do in those 2 games. I like the fact that, you know, he was trying different things. Grealish at 10, you know, and he had no problem playing Trent Alexander-Arnold as a proper right back, which everybody, including the current Liverpool manager, would stop playing him now in midfield. He's about one of the best right backs in the world. Fucking play him there. I think Carsley, I saw all the shit about the national anthem. What a load of nonsense.
I know. That's just
what a load of nonsense.
The state of England in one issue.
It's the argument, sing the national anthem. And
I
I just wish everyone would just leave all the non-football stuff alone. It's just so boring. I like him. I think he's a very good coach. And I think he'll get a chance. And I don't think there's anyone out there that they could go and give the job to that as of. And I think the players react well to him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the next few games take shape.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that they want to give him a chance to get the job full time. Like De La Fuente, the Spain manager, who came up through the
ranks,
under 18s, the under 21s, up to the first team. And
absolutely. I think it's the right thing to do. He knows a lot of the players. He had a lot of the players in the 21s that won the tournament. They won. He's got some good coaches around him. I think Ashley Cole has now joined full time and things like that. So no, I think England will be good. I think England will be. My only worry about England and World Cup in 2 years is the humidity, the heat.
Yeah.
So that would be. I still think a South American team will win the World Cup because of the humidity and that heat. So, but I think if Carsley was manager, I don't think it would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst he might not get to as many finals and semis as Southgate, he probably won't have the same look of draws and fixtures and stuff. I don't think he's that manager who would sit on 1-0.
Well, I don't think he'd be as risk averse, would he? That got Southgate to the semis and the finals, but it didn't get him over the line.
I agree. When I hear managers say, "I want to score goals, I want to entertain fans," they're all the things I want to hear. It's the right talking points. I want my manager to entertain me. I want my manager to entertain my fan base. I want us to play with an identity. The identity's got to be based on taking lots of shots. I don't want our identity to be that will be really hard to break down.
And why wouldn't you mirror the style and the tactics and the formation of the clubs that the majority of your players come from?
1,000,000%. That's exactly right. So and England have got so much talent. I mean, so much talent. Look at the players who missed those last set of internationals, including Bellingham. I mean, come on. So, and I think once Harry Kane gets out of the way and you can play with a bit of pace with the football you got behind you, you're going to be a hell of a team. So, but I don't. Harry Kane will play till somebody actually takes him to the barn. And he's one of them. He'll probably want to be playing for England. He will. He will.
As long as he wants to. He'll play for them.
He's that guy. He will play till he's 38, 40 if he could. Yeah. He will. It'll be one of them where an England manager is going to have to basically say, "Hey, thank you very much for everything, but we're moving on to a different focal point at night. Yeah. We're going to play with pace, and we're going to play with pressing, and we're going to play with this. And as much as you're the greatest goal scorer of your generation, the way we want to play, that doesn't suit. So, thank you. So I don't think it'll happen this side of this World Cup, but I would imagine by the next Euros, England will be very different offensively. Mm-hmm. So there you go. That's my 2 pence worth on the England manager.
Well, let's call that a wrap for another week. Appreciate your time as always, and thank you everyone for listening in.
Absolutely, guys. That's the hard truth.
Yeah. Keep the questions coming. Contact at hardtruthfootball.com, and we'll be back, all being well, next week.
Take care, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody.